Hey, what's going on, you guys? This is Madam 81, and I'm coming back to you again. This article is by the NPR. The article is done by Emma Boldman, and the title of the article says Democrats issue warning against viral Russian-based face-morphing app. Now, this is an app, if you've been on Instagram, like I've been on Instagram, and in other places, you have seen people post videos of themselves aging. I think it's a great concept. I think it's really good. But at the same token, let's get into this article. The growing popularity of Face app, a photo filter app that delights smartphone users with its ability to transform the features of any face, like tacking on years of wrinkles, have prompted Democrat Senator Chuck Schumer to call for a federal investigation into the Russian-based company over what he says are potential national security and privacy risks to millions of Americans. It would be deeply troubling if the sensitive personal information of the United States citizens was provided to a hostile foreign actively engaging a hostile foreign power actively engaging in cyber hostilities against the United States. Schumer said in a letter to the FBI and the Federal Trade Commission. I ask that the FTC consider whether they are adequate safeguards in place to prevent the privacy of Americans using this app, including government personnel and military service members, from being compromised, the senator wrote. And this is his tweet. He sent an official letter. Even as privacy advocates raise security concerns, Face apps' mug morphing powers lure celebrities or more who have their pictures saved to their phones, such as Drake and the Jordan brothers, to try on green hair and wrinkles by Wednesday. Face app has topped Apple's and Google's apps download charts. There's no surprise there. Schumer's appeal echoed concerns expressed earlier in the day from the Democratic National Committee over fears that its artificial intelligence technology could expose vulnerable facial recognition data to a company that launched a hacking campaign against the party during the 2016 election. True. The DNC has since expanded its cybersecurity efforts, including bringing on Chief Security Officer Bob Lord. Okay. And if we can...
FaceApp is a program that takes your photos and transforms you into a much older version of yourself. By now, you're either probably using it yourself or you've seen a friend or a celebrity show off their transformation on social media. FaceApp was developed in Russia by Russians, and that has raised a big question. How might those photos be used? The Democratic National Committee doesn't want to take chances, and it's telling presidential campaign staffers to, quote, delete the app immediately. Jeffrey Fowler is a technology columnist at The Washington Post. He ran his own forensic analysis of FaceApp, and he talked to the company's CEO. Jeffrey, good morning.
Good morning.
So explain how FaceApp works, because the end results are pretty cool. It's neat to see yourself much older.
It's a wonder of artificial intelligence that it can map all these points on anybody's face and then figure out how to morph them just enough to kind of figure out what your future self might look like. It's actually been around since 2017 with other capabilities. It can also change your gender or your hair, but people really started paying attention to it recently with this aging effect.
You did an analysis of FaceApp. Should users, and this is the big question, should users be worried about privacy and security? Where are those photos going?
All really good questions. I think you should worry about FaceApp but not necessarily any more than all the other apps on your phone. I think it's great that this app has caused us to have a conversation about, hey, wait a minute, where's my data going? Is it possibly going into the hands of the Russian government? And we have some answers to those questions, but not all the ones that we necessarily want. But I didn't see anything under the hood that made this app seem any more particularly dangerous than a lot of the other ones that are also really popular.
The fact that it was developed in Russia by Russians doesn't alone make it a security risk, but Democratic leaders are worried about it. Can you explain why?
One of the things that makes FaceApp controversial is that it has this privacy policy in terms of service that privacy advocates have started pouring through, and it's really broad. It basically says that this app has the right to take your photo and hold on to it and use it kind of however they want for as long as they want. So that kind of language is actually pretty common in a lot of companies' terms of service. You'll even see that like in Instagram and Facebook. But we now look at Russian companies a little bit differently, especially after the 2016 election, where we know Russian technology had a role in shaping that election.
Yeah.
I think we also look differently now at apps that are collecting pictures of our faces, because we've been having a big conversation about the power of facial recognition and how that might be used.
You talked to FaceApp's CEO. What did he tell you?
He offered some specifics about what his app is doing to respect our privacy that the terms of service and privacy policy and his website don't really offer. And I think some of them are important. So he said, for example, FaceApp only uploads one photo at a time, not your phone's entire camera roll. There were some people that presumed that it had access to every single photo and was sending that all up into the cloud, and that is not the case. I also saw that in my forensic analysis. Another important thing he said is that FaceApp deletes most of the photos from its systems after 48 hours. So again, we have to believe the CEO in this, but he says most of them are gone after 2 days. And the other thing he said that I think is important, that they're not using these photos to do something else. They're not running some kind of side business in facial recognition. They're really only using this to provide the service in the app, which is to morph your face into something cool.
And if people do want to delete their data, is there someplace they can go and figure out how to do that quickly?
Yeah, well, it doesn't really help just to delete the app itself, because as we've learned, your photos are going into the cloud and being processed in a server elsewhere. But you can go in the app, and if you go into the bug report settings and you submit a bug report and you start it with the word privacy, the company says they will pay attention to that one and delete the data of yours that they've got on their server.
Jeffrey Fowler is a technology columnist for the Washington Post. Thanks so much, Jeffrey.
You bet.
Okay, and we're going to continue with the article itself. In an email sent to the 2020 presidential campaign staff Wednesday, Lord urged people in the Democratic ecosystem against using an app that could have access to its users' photos. It's not clear at this point what the privacy risks are, but what is clear is that the benefits of avoiding the app outweighs the risk. Lord said in a notice from the report by CNN, if you or any of your staff have already used the app, we recommend that you delete the app immediately. Prior to the Democratic warnings, FaceApp began responding to a flood of inquiries about whether the company stores user data, and where FaceApp told TechCrunch in a statement that while its research and development team is based in Russia, no users' data are transferred there. The company also claims that the most images are deleted from our servers within 48 hours from the upload date. Founder YG, I'm not going to butcher that person's name, I cannot speak Russian, told the website that FaceApp headquarters in St. Petersburg uses Amazon Cloud platform and Google Cloud to host the app data, where it's processed most photos. Uploaded photos, FaceApp said, may be stored temporarily for performance and traffic to ensure users don't repeatedly upload the same photo as the platform completes an edit. Users have expressed concerns that the app has accessed their entire respective ISOs and Android photo library even if the user sets photo permission to never. But FaceApp told the TechCrunch that it only processes photos selected by the user, SERPed from the photo library, or those captured within the app. Security researchers have done their own work to back up the claim. With a security researcher, said he couldn't find evidence of the app uploads the camera roll to remote servers. FaceApp also said 99% of the users don't log in, and for that group of users, it doesn't have access to any identifying information. Many data privacy experts are worried about the kinds of machine learning apps, especially in a post-Cambridge Analytics era. Last year, up to 87 million Facebook users' personal information was compromised by a third-party data analytics firm after an apparent breach of Facebook policy. Facebook terms of service state that it won't rent or sell information to third party outside FaceApp or the group of companies which FaceApp is a part without your consent. But it is cause giving an open and identified group of companies the raise a red flag for Liz O'Sullivan, a technologist at the Surveillance Technology Oversight Project, and she said leave the door open to another Cambridge Analytics type scandal. My impressions of it honestly was shocked that so many people were in this climate, so willing to upload their pictures to seemingly unknown servers without really understanding what the data would go to feed, she said. For we know that we could be military applications. For all we know, there could be military applications. There could be a police application, O'Sullivan said of the Face app. In the event FaceApp sells its platform to another company, its privacy policy states user content and any other information collected through the service are also up for grabs. The app is one of many that leaves the open potential to advance facial recognition software that often unknown to users, is created from compilation of people's faces. In many cases, O'Sullivan said, the public does not find out what information is being collected about them until we see potential data revealed through Freedom of Information Act requests. This month, the NPR has reported researchers received records through one such request to find that Immigration and Custom Enforcement mines a massive database of driver's licenses, photos, and facial recognition effort that they may be used to target undocumented immigrants. Researchers have concluded facial recognition technology is biased and imperfect, putting innocent people at risk. True. O'Sullivan wants to see more regulation in place that's designed to protect the consumers. Like her, many security advocates in the United States will be watching Europe's testing grounds as lawmakers against tech grants play out under the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR, the European Union's sweeping new data policy. Okay, and that is the end of the article itself. I do agree that people should be wary of this. in a sense, you giving so too much of yourself. In other countries, in one for example to be China, they do have some type of facial recognition. It is out there. It's been being developed for a few years now, and people are just so willing to, you know, give their photos and things of that nature over to companies which are partnered with third party companies, which will, you know, essentially take your information, and they can basically, in this day and age, they can basically find whatever they want on you. Financial records, your kids' school records, things of that nature. This is not just a, you know, hippie theory, you know, oh, you're just so paranoid, this, that, and the third. I myself have been guilty of using some of the Facebook apps and things of that nature too. So I think it's more so about awareness and knowing where your information goes, and you having the permission to decide who gets your information. Essentially, signing up for that when you agree to the terms and services. Keep in mind that everything that you put your signature on or you click on nowadays is basically you giving permission. It is a contract. I don't care if you signing up for a new phone. I don't care if you know, signing your kids' applications for school, and or you know, you signing up to test a new product that's coming onto the market. You're essentially signing a contract. Everything is a contract, and that people need to be more aware and know that when you put your name on a dotted line or you click this OK button and stuff, you're essentially giving permission. Also, a lot of people do not read the service and terms for any for anything that they get, whether it be on social media, whether it be in real life. You do not read the service in terms, and a lot of people, you know, it turns around to bite them in the ass. So please let me know. What do you think? What is your, you know, opinion on this? I myself, I'm very wary of it. Very wary. They already have so much of our information anyway. Facebook has failed to, you know, be as diligent as they should be in terms of keeping our information safe and keeping our information private. They have had so many and currently going hearings on Capitol Hill and things of that nature, to where this is the main issue, and a lot of people don't tune into that. So if you don't know, you're not aware, and if you're not aware, you won't be aware until it's too late. This is the actual letter. You can pause and read this if you like.